Welcome back to another episode of the Living Proof Recovery Podcast. We're your hosts, Brian and Evan. And tonight we've got a controversial topic that Evan is going to read and we're going to discuss. So without further ado, I'll let you do your thing.
All right, I'll try not to butcher this up. All right, Bill W. eventually discovered something many AAs still refuse to face. Dependence on AA itself becomes a spiritual obstruction. When the fellowship becomes the higher power, God gets pushed out. And when God is pushed out, the result is not freedom. It is unhappiness, depression, anxiety, emotional dependency, and in some cases, serious clinical disorder. You see it everywhere among the meeting addicted. They carry disheartened personalities, chronic mental distress, people still spiritually sick after years of keep coming back. They stay sober but not free. They find abstinence through distraction, crowd immersion, emotional dependency, and what some call becoming part of the pack. The logic is simple. Groups don't drink, people drink. So they hide inside the meetings instead of finding God. Bill W. saw the dangerous phenomena in himself and was broken free of it. I found I had to exert every ounce of will and action to cut off these faulty emotional dependencies upon people, upon AA, indeed upon any set of circumstances whatsoever. AA can help lead a person to God, but if he mistakes AA for God, the thing that saved him becomes the thing that blocks him.
So first off, you're a much better reader out loud than I am. We'll go ahead and throw that out there. So if we ever do any more of these, we'll make sure that you read. You're much better at it than I am. First thing so I sent you this, like earlier this week, I think it was, because it really stood out to me, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. Now, that's not to say that this isn't saying that going to meetings is wrong or going to meetings is bad, but what it's saying is that when we place our dependence on people, places, stuff like that, that's where we can get in trouble, right? Because we start making that AA can become your religion.
Yeah,
right?
I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Yeah, and we hear people do it all the time, there's a phrase that I'm not a big fan of, is that meeting makers make it, and some do, and the majority of the people that I've seen that are meeting makers that do make it are people that don't rely on meetings. They go to meetings, but they also get a sponsor. They work the 12 steps. They continue to work the 12 steps. They sponsor others, and they stay sober, and they make it. But they're not making it just because they're making a lot of meetings.
Right.
There's not a number of meetings that you can hit that will give you a spiritual awakening. If there was, everyone in AA, not everyone, but a lot of people in AA would be happy, joyous, and free.
Right.
And a lot of people are not, because when you go to a lot of meetings, like we've been in a lot of meetings, right? And we see a lot of the same people a lot of the time. And they've been sober a while, but every week it's like some new drama is going on in their life. And it's just like, don't get me wrong, like life happens and we go through hard stuff, but it's like they're always looking like something's always wrong, and they're running to the meeting to cure it.
Right. Open that back up. So, like for that example, what's it say here? I don't ever retain shit right away.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Where'd it go? Like for this example, the years of keep coming back. They stay sober but not free. They find abstinence through distraction, crowd immersion, emotional dependency, and what some call becoming part of the pack. So I think it's more when you see these people, because we all have stuff that happens daily in our lives, right? But it's how we respond to it and how we deal with it. And I feel like that's a good sign of someone who, they're constantly running to the meeting when something, especially when something negative happens in their life. Because that is their higher power, right? That is what they're looking at for the fix. And that's not it. But they come in there, and that's why you hear every time they share, it's just the drama.
Yeah.
There's no experience, strength, and hope behind it. It's just life sucks so bad, and this is what's going on with me today, and I don't know what to do.
For an hour about the traffic.
Right. So that's not freedom.
It's not.
Like,
you're in bondage.
For me, if I go into a meeting, I don't go in there and share on negative stuff that's happened in my life. I have you, I have my sponsor, I have other men in my support group that I can talk to about those things. I didn't, that's a big part for me, the freedom, because that's what sobriety is all about, is being free.
Yeah.
And I'm not free if I have to go to a meeting every single day. Not saying there's people that do go every day
because they choose to. Because
they choose to. But I didn't get sober to feel in my soul that I have to be in a meeting every single day, and when something bad happens, I better get my ass to a meeting right now.
Yeah. You have no tool. Like, that's your only tool?
That's that would, you know what I mean? So, that's what comes to my mind when you bring that up, is exactly what it's saying there. We're dependent on other people, you know what I mean, to make us feel better. And then we got to go in there and put all this drama out there every time we go, when in reality, that's something that only God can take care of.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, the book says we are beyond human aid.
Right.
And what is AA full of? Humans.
Right.
They can help me, but they can't relieve me of the obsession to drink. They can't give me a spiritual awakening. Now, we can get a lot of things out of meetings. We can. But the key that we're trying to hammer home here is, if it's just like any other drug, if I don't go to a meeting for a couple days and that alone affects me negatively, I'm basically in withdrawal because I'm dependent on that meeting. And then if I go to a meeting, I'm better. How are you the rest of the day?
Yeah, you're better for that 1 hour.
Yeah. It's like, well, I got to get to a meeting so I can be okay. It's like, that's a problem.
Yeah. And that's what he was talking about in there, where he's talking about, they carry, it looks like anxiety, depression, all of those things that he's talking about. That's because if that's the only tool you have and the only time of the day is that 1 hour.
Right.
So when that hour's up and you go on your own way, the real freedom is. So I used to do that all the time for years of trying to get sober. And
living in meetings?
I would live in meetings. I would go to as many meetings as I possibly could. I needed the fellowship. I needed the members of AA to make me feel okay.
Right.
Right. But then that's what would happen to me, is I would leave there and I'm right back with the problem. And I didn't know how to deal with it. Right. And for different points in my life, I just kind of drug on through life and I was miserable. Right. And then I would go to the meeting the next day and I'm happy and everything's good to go and everybody sees the side, but that wasn't what was really going on.
Right.
It wasn't until this last 4.5 years to where I finally fully gave in and was like, okay, like, what am I doing wrong here? What is the problem? And it wasn't until this last 4 years that I was able to figure it out, right? And now today I know, okay, if something's off with me, it's not because, like, my first thought isn't, I better take my ass to a meeting right now.
Yeah.
My first
If
thought
your ass is falling off, pick it up and take it with you to a meeting.
right. That's not
outta
my
here.
first thought today,
Mine either.
because I know where for me, it always starts with my connection with God.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I lacking in that?
Yeah.
And there's times where I lack in it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where I'm on fire with it.
Right.
Times where I'm just kind of so-so, you know, but I can always see the difference, and I know when my mental state, or I'm irritable and being a dick, you know what I mean? Like, just the other day, I'm just irritable, and my wife just straight up looked at me and said, "You better start getting right with God.
Right.
Maybe you need to go pray. Maybe you need to go do." And I'm like, I ain't been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ain't been keeping that connection with God.
Mm.
So that's where the freedom comes, though.
Yeah.
That's the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go and sit in that chair to feel that freedom today, and I know where to find that.
Well, let's be honest. That's relief. That's not freedom.
Right.
Right. That's like taking.
Temporary.
Yeah. That's like having a toothache and taking an ibuprofen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I feel better. Right. But that toothache's going to come back because I didn't address the root problem, is that I'm disconnected.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, ibuprofen's helpful. You know, just like a meeting is helpful, but it's not the solution to my problem. Right? Because this book here, it's got a bunch of chapters in it, and there's not one labeled into meetings or
Right.
take your ass to a meeting.
Right.
It barely even talks about it, because what did these guys do before they had meetings?
Right. This right here.
Yeah. Like, I mean, what do they do? You know, they relied on God. That's on their higher power is what
Yeah.
they relied on. They relied on the program, which connected them to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So spiritual kindergarten, if you will, shouldn't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Eventually you need to go to first grade.
Yeah.
You need to go to second grade. You need to go to, eventually, you know, you graduate, you know, and we don't ever fully graduate this way of life, but we should be growing along the way to where we're not depending on a meeting like we were early on. Now, I still go to meetings, you know, but the reason I go to them isn't the same as it was before I had worked the 12 steps. You know, before then it was like, I need to be around these people, because it's a we program, right? We do need people, right? We're not saying that we don't, but that's not our only tool. And I go to meetings now. I don't go to meetings now to feel better. It's not why I go. Like, I go because maybe there's someone there I can help. You know, and I like to see everybody, and I like the fellowship, and like, for sure, like, that stuff's valuable. But I'm not, like, this week, like, I've had a rough fucking week, dude. Like, you know, like, it's been hard. But my first thought was never, I got to get to a meeting or I'm going to, like, no, it was get on your knees, pray, let's inventory this, let's do what the program asks, and let's talk to some people, right? That's what I need to do. Like, and it helped. And it centers me, you know, because I'll tell you, if I would have went, and I don't know this for a fact because I didn't do it, but if I would have went to a meeting when all that stuff happened, I'm not saying it wouldn't have been beneficial for me. It could have been, but depending on what meeting I would have went to, I might have left with a really big resentment.
Right.
If I'm going into a meeting where people are just complaining and pissing and moaning about how bad their life sucks. Because I don't want that, right? Like, that's not what, you know, we ask people, do you want what we have? I don't want that. You know, I don't want that at all. And I'm glad we kind of started talking about this, because there's something that's been kind of on my mind, is that I have a couple children that might be headed this way, you know, into the rooms of AA, hopefully. Not hopefully that they have to, but if they need to, that it's available to them, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't like certain meetings where a lot of that goes on is because my kid might end up in there one day, and they're going to hear the drama. If my kids end up in there, I want them to hear solution. I want them to hear get a sponsor. Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about steps. Let's talk about hope. Let's talk about willingness. Let's talk about all that stuff. The stuff that's actually helpful to a newcomer. So that's why it kind of rubs me wrong when I go to meetings and hear this guy's been sober 3 years and he's bitching about the fucking traffic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
and
like,
I've been listening to him share it for 4.5 years.
right. It's like, bro, take a different road.
Yeah.
You know, something, you know, like call an Uber. I don't know, bro. Like, fucking get over it. You know, like, it's just ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get people need to talk about things they're going through. Yeah. I get that. That's why we talk to each other. That's why we have these things called sponsors. You know, it's like this crazy concept of, you know, talking to someone, not taking up everyone else's time in the meeting, talking about your drama, your bullshit. Yeah. You know, and that might sound cold hearted and everything, but I really don't give a shit because that's just the truth. It's how I feel, you know. Now, this isn't like directed towards people that are new because they don't know any different, you know. But, you know, you got this guy who's been sober 12 years. And he's in there talking about how much he hates his fucking boss, you know, or about his divorce that he's been talking about for 12 fucking years. You know, it's like, that's not showing people that this thing works. Right. That's showing people that you can stay dry and miserable for 12 years. Like, there's no hope in that. At least for me, there's not. I don't hear things like that and go, oh, wow. And this program works. I look at it and go, oh man, like this must suck. Yeah. You know, so I have something written in my book here. It says, where's it at? I have so much shit written in here. If people give you peace, they can take it from you. Right? So if my peace is in the meeting, then the way the meeting goes,
that's what I was going to say.
You know,
they feed off each other.
Yeah,
you know?
like, you know, one person share, you can tell how it's going to go, right? Yeah. It starts and it's like, oh, here we go. You know, the first person, and you're like, oh shit, like this is going to be awful. But I lost my train of thought.
Well, people give you peace and they can take it.
Yeah, but if God gives you peace, nobody can take it, right? So, and we got a snapshot of this of people depending on meetings for their sobriety when COVID hit. Yeah. Because so many people relapsed because they couldn't go to meetings. And that shows you right there that they were relying on the meetings for their sobriety. And that's an issue. Because, I mean, that could happen tomorrow. Yeah. You know, or we could have some crazy thing happen where there's no internet and you can't go to meetings, and so there's no Zoom, there's no meetings. Like, what are you gonna rely on? Right. Like, that's when you find out, like, where are you really dependent? Is it on people or is it on a higher power? Yeah. So get off my soapbox for a minute. Let you talk.
No, I just I think this is kind of, you know, I shared last night at our little men's group we had just about looking for, maybe I was looking for something different or something more fulfilling. And I think that maybe it was just about a change of scenery as far as meetings that I go to. Yeah. Maybe I just need to try some different meetings. Yeah. Maybe I need to do something like that because I want to be of more service, of better service to others.
Yeah, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. So, you know, because it's hard when you go to, like you were just saying, if you go to a meeting and the first person, because I know you've experienced, the first person that shares is sharing on all this terrible negative things, and they've been sober for years, but life still sucks. Yeah. And then maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to share on the hope here, but it's a chain reaction. Like that one piece of hope that somebody shares, it just goes out the window and people feed off the negative.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's just the rest of the meeting is just, people
It's a
who
big
are
fucking war story.
miserable and,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's tough, man.
maybe it's a change of scenery as far as meetings that I go to, or like I said, I want to be of better service. I don't know what that looks like right now,
Right.
but
You know who does?
yeah, I do.
Not the meeting.
I need to keep praying on it. And,
God does.
and He'll reveal it to me.
Yeah.
When His time is right, He'll
Yeah.
reveal it to me of what I'm supposed to be doing and what that looks like. I just know that there's something more that I could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's something more to this thing, and I'm missing it somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just don't. I'm not able to put my finger on it yet. But I will in due time.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be revealed. So I don't know. It's just had something I've been thinking about the last couple of days. Well, probably more than the last couple of days. It's been on my mind for a while now. But maybe that's where I need to start is venturing out to some different meetings. Maybe some I've never been to before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Meet some fresh faces and just see what else is out there.
Yeah, I had to switch home groups because I couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, I feel worse every time I come here. Mm-hmm. It's just I get irritated, and some of that's my shit.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
100%. Because I'm putting expectations on certain things, and I'm, looking at it from the wrong perspective. But at the same time, it's like, this isn't healthy. Mm-hmm. So I don't need to keep putting myself in this situation when I know what the meeting's like. Mm-hmm. It's been like this for years. I don't need to keep coming, But I had this conversation today with Joe, and we were talking about it, and I kind of told him about my feelings about the meetings, about if one of my kids ends up there and things like that. And he had a good perspective that I hadn't thought about. And he said, maybe that's why you need to be there. And, because people like us need to be there because somebody needs to share that stuff. Mm-hmm. Or maybe pull somebody aside in the meetings and, hey man, I've been hearing you for the past 3 years talk about your divorce. Let's do some work on that and get past it so we can share something that can help somebody. Because a newcomer can hear that same identification on a bar stool. Mm-hmm. So let's kind of, look at it that way. So I'm trying to look at it that way, maybe I can help someone else's kid. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because not every meeting is that way. And not every share is that way. Right.
And I've been to enough meetings over my life to know that that's not how it is. And that's why I'm saying maybe I need to go somewhere different, mm-hmm. try a few different ones, instead of just the same old routine.
Right. Yeah, but I can't put my dependence on the meeting,
Yeah.
And I feel like we foster that early on in people's recovery, mm-hmm. right? Because we tell them things like 90 meetings in 90 days. We put this.
I would never.
Right. Me neither. We put this prerequisite on them, you have to do this. And that's never mentioned in this book. Mm-hmm. Not once. Now, is it a bad thing to go to 90 meetings in 90 days? Absolutely not.
Right.
If you can do that, and cool. It's not a bad thing, but it's not the solution to your problem either. Right? What we should be telling people, the first thing, instead of 90 meetings in 90 days, get a sponsor right now. Mm-hmm. Work steps. Go to meetings. Sure. Find a sponsor at that meeting. Mm-hmm. And then do what the fuck he says. Yeah. And hopefully it's coming out of this book. Hopefully it's not just some bullshit that he came up with. So, stuff like that. I got this guy I'm working with right now. and he's crushing it, dude. Like, he is just absolutely willing to do anything. Like, he's ready, right? He wants it bad. Like, I've told you before, I'm having to beat this guy like away. Like, and that's how I know, like, he's desperate for some recovery. Like, he's eager, right? So we got to work, like, he's in IOP right now, but it's not like I'm not telling him to not go to meetings, but I'm not telling him that that's where his recovery is. Like, this is what brings about what you need, which is a spiritual awakening. Like, let's get to that and attend some meetings, like, for sure. Like, go to some meetings, like, but you don't live in them, right? Because, and you mentioned this earlier, right? Recovery is about being able to go back in the mainstream of life and be a husband and be a father, be a good employee, be a good son or daughter, wife, whatever it is, right? To go do those things, not to live in a fucking meeting, right? Like, so if I'm living in meetings, guess who I'm neglecting? My wife, my daughter, my son, my parents. Like, I need to have some sort of balance in my life, right? And we're never going to have perfect balance. Like, there's times in my life when recovery might be like 60% and home life might be 40, or there's times when home life is 80 and the recovery scene is 20. Like, it shifts around, but there needs to be some kind of homeostasis there with my family at home. And it actually tells us that in this book, is that, that's not why we get sober, is to just, it's not our sole vocation.
Yeah.
That's not all we're about. Like, I need to be a member of society. We need to get to a point in recovery to where I don't depend on other people. Doesn't mean I don't use other people for help, but I don't depend on them. Like, I don't use my sponsor today as someone that is my life coach.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, hey, man, every time I make a decision, I got to run it by him. Like, no, like I said, we got to graduate. We need to get to a point to where I don't need to run everything by somebody. I run things by people, but not every single thing that I do. Right? Like, that's just crazy to me. Of, like, because now you're putting your dependence on your sponsor.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like we're transferring that.
Right.
For some reason we do that.
I think
people do that. Some people do that.
Yeah. And that's the same way with me and my sponsor. Like, yeah, there's times where we might talk every day for a week or two.
Right.
And then we might not talk to each other over the phone for a week or two. You know what I mean? But it's not that type of relationship today to where it's like, I have to call him. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? He knows if I needed to, I would.
Right.
But it's a friendship.
Yeah.
It's not a sponsor-sponsee relationship, but we're friends. And we're there for each other, but when we talk, it's rarely even about recovery. You know what I mean? It's just, we catch up. How's life? How's things going with you? What's going on? How's life with you? How are the kids? How's the wife? And you know what I mean? It's that type of thing. It's not, it's, like I said, it's a friendship. But I know I need other people.
For sure.
Like, I always will. I need other people.
Yeah, we're not saying you don't.
Right.
We're not just saying you can't always just they can't be your higher power.
Yeah, yeah. So this thing, you can stay spiritually fit without having to always be in a meeting.
Yeah.
That's just, and that's what sobriety's about to me. Like, I love AA. I love everything that it's given me in my life. But in the beginning, it was, I had a very strict routine versus now it's like, I can kind of just roll with the flow.
Yeah.
I might have every intention of, well, I'm going to go to this meeting tonight. And then by the
Life happens.
by the end of work, it's like, well, maybe I'll just go home and hang out with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's okay, because they get. I get to do that today.
It's called recovery.
Right. You know, and I don't know. It's just that's part of the promises to me is being able to do that. That's freedom.
Yeah. Perfect peace and ease.
Yeah.
Our fears fall from us, right? Like, so the fear of, if I don't go to a meeting, I'm going to get drunk. Then you still have an alcoholic mind.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I was sitting there thinking when you were talking about that, like most of the guys that I've sponsored and even the ones that have worked the steps, I don't talk to many of them. Like, we don't have that relationship, and that's okay, right? That doesn't mean they have less recovery or anything like that, because the way that I sponsor guys, I make sure they know, like, hey, your dependence is not on me, right? I am not here for that. I'm here to get you through this work, and then if we have a relationship afterwards, that's a bonus, right? My job is to get you connected to a power greater than you. That's my job, right? And if I can do that, then I've done my job, right? So, and a lot of them are still sober, and we don't talk, and it's because they're on a different path, right? Like, just because you have a sponsor doesn't mean that that's what you're dependent on. Right now, I talk to my sponsor just because I like him. Like, he's my friend, you know, like, that's what it is. Like, and a lot of the times we don't even talk about recovery. We're just talking about life, you know, but like these guys that have worked the steps with me, and then they picked up their mat and now they're on their own journey, right? Like, maybe we were meant to be with each other for a season, and then God has other plans for them. So they're out doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like, well, you have to call me every day. And if you don't call me every day, then you don't want it. You know, no. Like, I don't want you calling me every day. Let's be real. Like, because I don't want you depending on me, because I'm human and I will fail you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
for
just
sure.
the fact. You know, I'm not God. You know, I mean, close, but I'm not God.
Right. So what do you think? So there's a lot of people I know that in recovery that don't even go to AA meetings anymore. You know, and they've got a lot of sobriety under their belt. What do you think about that? I don't think we've ever even talked about that stuff before.
I think in my opinion, I don't think it's wrong, right? I think that it really depends on the situation, right?
Like what
These
you're
telemarketers, man. They keep
think-
calling me.
So what do you mean as far as like what they're doing now? How are they giving back?
Yeah.
How are they helping other people?
Yeah. That's
right.
kind of my thing is, and that's just me personally. Like, I think if you've been given this way of life, that you're supposed to give it back. Right. So, but it doesn't have to be an AA.
Right.
Right. It doesn't have to be an AA. If you're helping somebody in some way, then I think and you're living right, then I don't have a problem with that. I'll be honest with you. I was telling Joe this today. There's been several times when I've really considered walking away from AA. Not the program of AA, but from the fellowship of AA, from the meetings. Just because I've gotten some of them are so toxic where it's like, I can't do this anymore. You know, like, this is not what this is supposed to be about, and it's not what I want to be associated with. I've had that several times to where I've really fought with it internally and prayed on it and all that kind of stuff. And like, I've never done it, you know, because kind of the thing that Joe was saying, like, there's somebody in there you can help, right?
Well, always,
you know,
yes.
so you need to keep going, right? And that's kind of where I've been at with it, because that's happened several times for me. And So I can understand why some people would forego that
Yeah,
to do something else, whether it's church or just family stuff. Like that's their business, right? Like that, I don't necessarily have an opinion on it really because it's not my business.
I mean, because we've had probably multiple guests on. We have had multiple guests on here that have
years.
double-digit years of sobriety that are no longer active members in AA.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and I would be lying if I said that doesn't cross my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do know that if that time ever came for me where I was like, you know, maybe I'm meant to do something different, that it wouldn't be just, I'm not going to go to meetings no more and just do nothing.
Right. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's
How am I going to give, how can I give back in the community? How can I be of service?
right.
You know, and that's, I think, like I shared just a minute ago about what I was talking about last night. Sometimes that's what crosses my mind here lately is like I feel like at times like I'm supposed to be doing something different. And I don't know what it is.
Right.
You know, so it's just something, my shit, and something I got to figure out. And I know that God will lead me to whatever that is, you know.
Yeah, so me and that sponsee I was talking about, last week we were talking about the word purpose, and we were talking about the definition of it is the reason why something was created, right? And as we progress and grow, we become more in touch with what we're really supposed to be doing, you know? So, and that can be more fellow. It can look like a lot of different things, right? Because I believe that we are all God's kids. So I don't think God is like, oh, I don't want you helping that person because they're not an alcoholic. You know, like I don't want you fellowshipping with them because they're not alcoholics. You know, I don't think that's how it works. You know, it's like I'm just supposed to be of maximum service to the people about me, right? Not just alcoholics. Right. So, like I said, I've felt that way too, you know, and I get it, you know, because sometimes it's like banging your head against a wall. You know, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? But sometimes it's like, man, this was a great meeting.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and sometimes it's my perspective too, you know, of what I'm taking away from it. And sometimes I got to really focus on what am I bringing to it, not what am I getting from it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I get that, man. Like there's times where, I mean, that's the good thing about this. Like what a journey. Like that's the good thing about this is that we're not pigeonholed into some way of life. You know, it's like some actor gets typecast and they only play these certain type of roles. You know, and then you finally see him in a different, like you see a comedic actor, and next thing you know, he's in like a drama, and you're like, oh, that guy's a good actor. Like, but he's only been in these comedies forever, and he finally breaks out, and then he's in these serious roles, and it's like, oh wow, like, you know, we don't have to get pigeonholed into this way of life. You were talking about it last night about the monotony.
Yeah.
It's mundane,
Yeah.
right? So like sometimes we got to shake things up. You know, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. Like, get out there and find out what it is, you know, because what's worse than just staying stuck? You know, if you're stuck, like, let's get unstuck.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, though, it might take some time, you know, like, but as long as we keep seeking, eventually we'll find it. How many people do you think this episode will piss off?
Probably quite a few.
Probably.
But I mean, it's just.
I mean, it's the truth, though, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just being honest. Well, that's where I'm at, and what I've been thinking for a while now. You know,
Yeah.
And I believe that there's, you know, so many different avenues. Like I know that AA is not the only way. It's the way I know. but it doesn't mean that there's not something else out there for me too.
Right.
That I'm growing.
And AA teaches us that.
Right. Right. And that's okay. And I know a lot of people would take offense to that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just, that's what we've always talked about. We just going to be honest on this show. Right. Yeah. And maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe God will lead me. Maybe God will lead me to where I'm supposed to be. And the whole time it was something that I thought, something I wasn't expecting.
Right.
You know what I mean? But maybe it is to a greater purpose, to be able to help people on a different level.
Well, think about it. So that is the fact that you're at least willing to investigate it. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there's a quote in the back of the book that talks about contempt prior to investigation. Right? So there's two ways you could handle that. Number one, you could seek or investigate and see what's out there, see what God has for you. Or you can just sit back and say, you know what, fuck this AA shit, this stuff sucks, I'm fucking gone, bye. Mm-hmm. And just bounce, and not look for something new, not look for any avenue of growth, not look for how you can still be of service in other capacities, but just say, fuck it, because I don't like this shit.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to do that, and you've chosen the right path. Where it leads you, we don't know. Mm-hmm. It might just be a circle. It might lead you right back where you started. And that's cool too. There's still going to be growth there.
Yeah.
So that's what's important.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Have we beat this dead horse?
Yeah.
Or do you got anything else?
No, I got a lot of praying and meditating to do. I know that.
Yeah.
And a lot of searching.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
All right. Good deal. So, if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up or a like or a comment. If you don't, then that's okay too. Maybe tune in next week and we'll have something that you do like. If not, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Other than hopefully we help somebody, or at least can start a conversation with some people or something to where maybe they can investigate themselves.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Well, we love you guys. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next week.